Welcome to another edition of Morning Date, when we get to meet with amazing figures from all walks of life. Well, today is no exception, as I have the great pleasure and privilege of sitting down with director Paik Young Wook, the mastermind of incredible short films, advertisement series, and more. Welcome to the studio, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Would you like to say hello to our listeners?
Yes, hello. My name is Paik Young Wook. My Korean name is Paik Young Wook, but a lot of my overseas producers call me Wookie. I've been a director for 10 years. I've worked in advertising for 20 years. So before being a director, I worked as a copywriter.
Right.
So it's been a long run, very dynamic, but no complaints. Very thankful.
광고 대행사에서 이제 카피라이터로도 일을 해주셨었고요. 또 PD로도 근무를 했었고, 현재 국내 프로덕션 Mass Age의 감독님으로 또 활동 중이시고, 여러분들이 잘 아시는 광고, 그 다니엘 헤니가 나오는 광고 있죠. 최근에는 제가 이름을 말할 순 없지만 버거를 너무 맛있게 먹고 있는 이 광고도 찍으셨고요. 예전에는 또 이렇게 스테이크를 먹는 그 광고도 다 우리 백 감독님이 찍으신 겁니다. Tell us a bit about your work. I mean, there's so much, we could really spend the whole day talking about that alone, but if you will.
Well, just briefly talking about my recent campaign, the client reached out to me because of two things, because I've had experience working on food advertising.
Yes.
And also my work experience with Daniel Henney.
Right.
So I believe it was a bit of a competition for that particular brand because it was for their premium lineup of burgers. So when I got the job 2 years ago, it was a great responsibility. I had a great time shooting it, but at the same time, there was a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And fast forward 2 years, presently, they renewed their contract with Daniel. So they kind of wanted me back to direct the campaign again.
Right. And you've worked with Daniel Henney for many years now, haven't you?
That's correct.
Take us back to the days, which is very hard to imagine, but when he was not that well known, and yet he was in one of your productions, and I think that's when a friendship bloomed, really.
I first knew Daniel way back, I would say, from 2005, back when I was a copywriter.
Yeah.
And I was producing a commercial for a digital camera.
Okay.
And the client had requested if there was kind of a new talent that would kind of... he basically starred in that campaign with the Korean actress Gianna Chun.
네, 전지현.
Yes. So the casting agency had recommended him, and back then he was more of a fashion model.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I first got to know him, and since that campaign, everything just blew over,
Right.
and he became so popular, and then he started in a very big drama.
So in a way, you sort of put him to the position he is.
Well, I can't take all the credit. I mean, it's just everyone, just the casting director at that time.
But I mean, isn't there a part of you that sort of wishes to, I did play a part in his popularity?
Oh, absolutely. If we're going to go that way, I'll take credit.
Especially because you're good friends with him now, aren't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
2005년 당시에 그때는 다니엘 헤니 씨가 그렇게까지 유명하신 분은 아니셨는데 카피라이터로 백 감독님이 일하고 계실 당시였습니다. 그래서 광고주가 좀 덜 알려진 신인이 누가 없을까라고 하면서 이제 여기저기 찾던 중에 굉장히 잘생긴 이 다니엘 헤니라는 모델을 이제 발견하셔가지고 광고에 섭외를 하셨고 그 이후로는 the rest is history, obviously. 또 이제 좋은 친분을 유지하셔서 그동안 이제 광고를 또 같이 많이 찍으셨어요. What's it like working with him? I have to ask you a bit more about working with Daniel Henney.
Daniel is he's just a natural actor. He started out in fashion, but from the first moment that I worked with him, I knew that he had this hunger for acting. And working with him over the years, we've kind of built up a really good camaraderie, a chemistry.
Yeah.
So when we're shooting a scene, we'd be rolling, and at the same time, he'd be throwing ideas, I'd be throwing ideas in between takes. And
He's not just a pretty face.
no, he's not just a pretty face. Very intelligent, very smart, good sense of humor.
Right.
So I would say when I'm shooting with him, we're not really shooting, we're actually playing. Like, how would you say, throwing, catch ball. So if he throws a curve, I would throw something else.
Right, right.
And that's how we would kind of build up the momentum for that scene.
Right.
And hopefully and obviously that all kind of comes out on the screen when the advertising comes out.
Oh, wow. I mean, when he was in lots of, TV dramas, soap operas, what be it, he has such a non-worldly, beautiful face that you would think, he wouldn't be that down to earth. But quite recently, watching these reality TV shows that he's on, you get to see a side of him where he really is just a normal human being. And I think I like him a bit more because of that.
He's a very down-to-earth guy. I mean, he just loves the everyday stuff that we do. But I guess it's more of the image or the media, the kind of campaigns or the TV series that he stars in.
Right,
that kind of
right.
like, I think it's kind of the same with any actors, but especially with Daniel, he's very down-to-earth, which is why I like him. He's a good guy.
And how many takes for a normal ad do you have to go through to get the best shot?
With Daniel or with
Daniel.
Oh, okay. Well, with Daniel, I don't take too many takes.
Okay.
Unless there's food involved.
Oh,
That's
so how
right.
many burgers did Daniel have?
Oh, I can't tell. There's just so many.
Did you have some as well?
Well, you know what? I don't really eat when I'm shooting.
Oh.
It's kind of like a discipline because I need to focus. I got to stay a little bit hungry because I need to kind of really focus on the framing and the picture and the momentum. So I try not to eat while we're shooting, but
interesting.
he has to do all the eating, obviously, because he's a star.
Where does all of that food go?
Well, some in his stomach.
To his abs.
Yes, but also, when you're shooting food campaigns, you can only eat so much,
Okay.
so you can't eat all of it.
Right.
So basically, you eat partially and then we cut and then we prepare another product. So it's really that money shot where the first 2 bites are, like the star shots where we kind of used for the final edit.
그렇군요. 다니엘 헨리 씨가 이제 버거를 또 많이 드셨다고 합니다. 이 광고를 찍으면서 살 안 찌시나 봐요. 근데 오랫동안 이렇게 10년 넘게 친분을 또 유지해 주셨고 그 다음에는 또 굉장히 아이디어를 많이 낸다라는 것도 흥미롭네요. 다니엘 헨리 씨가 그냥 포즈만 취하는 게 아니라 뭐 시키는 대로 하는 게 아니라 이런저런 좀 창작 과정에 있어서도 좀 함께 한다라는 것도 인상적입니다. Alright, well, your body of work does not just cover food commercials. You've actually done a whole lot of other stuff as well. 대행사 시절에 담당했던 그 많은 광고 캠페인들이 사실 뉴욕 페스티벌 그리고 칸 같은 이제 권위 있는 그런 광고제에서 글로벌 캠페인 파이널리스트로 입상하기도 했었죠. Tell us about those experiences.
Well, I worked mainly as a copywriter and also a assistant producer for global campaigns for Korean clients.
Right.
And luckily or fortunately, a few of them got accepted to like festivals like the New York festivals and Cannes. I think for me, when someone asked me about my agency accomplishment, I would tell them about one moment back in the early 2000s when I was invited as a representative of Korea for the Young Lions competition.
Right.
The Young Lions competition is basically part of the Cannes Advertising Festival, where people who are less than the age of 28 who work in advertising get invited to work, kind of compete for a pitch for an idea. So I was kind of like the Korean representative, myself and also a few other art directors from other agencies.
Wow.
So.
And then your work also led you to make some short movies, would you call them as well? We'll get to that after a song break. 네, 노래 듣고 와서 이제 단편 영화에 대한 얘기도 좀 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. This is George Michael, Star People. We're back with Morning Date, and today I have the privilege of sitting down with director Paik Young Wook, the mastermind of incredible short films, advertisement series, and more. So, 감독님, I understand you're a big music buff as well. 음악 평소에 많이 들으신다고 들었어요. 어떤 음악 평소에 많이 들으시고 좋아하시나요?
Wow, that is the most toughest question that I can receive. I like every kind of genre. Just rock and roll, R&B,
Right.
disco funk, jazz. I guess if I were to kind of narrow it down, anything that has a very powerful vocal track. I think I'm still more into having that human element in the music.
Yeah. As
Doesn't-
opposed to electrical sounds.
Well, it doesn't mean that I don't like electric sound.
Okay.
I love electronica, don't get me wrong, but I think it's really more the human element that's kind of extended the history of music as we kind of come by.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I listen to everything, basically.
And do you have work in mind when you listen to these songs, or was it just a personal passion of yours?
It was a good question because when I storyboard a certain scene for either a short film or an advertising, I usually put on a music track first
Okay.
and then start drawing.
Right.
Because I need to kind of get in the mood. So when I get a brief for a certain campaign that I need to kind of storyboard, I kind of imagine what the soundtrack would be like for this.
Right. Right.
So I kind of pick among some of the albums that I have what kind of music would kind of fit, make them into a playlist, and then while playing them out, I would kind of sketch out the drawings.
와우. 평소에 음악을 뭐 다양하게 들으시기도 하시지만 또 그렇게 해서 만들어 놓은 선곡표를 가지고 크리에이티브 작업을 시작할 때 음악을 틀어놓고 그때부터 광고 이제 구상을 하시고 기획을 하시는군요. Well, that song I understand that we just heard there is a song that you like.
Star People, George Michael.
Yeah, we prepared it especially for you.
Thank you so much. It's actually from one of my favorite George Michael albums.
Oh, really?
Older. So that album is just a classic. And
It is indeed.
Still stands the test of time.
Yes. 네, 2007년도에는요 감독님이 프로듀싱한 대한항공 몽골 편이 대한민국 방송 광고 대상을 또 수상한 바도 있습니다. 방송 광고계의 거장이신데요. 광고 연출 외에도 단편 영화들을 통해서 뭐 샌디에이고 아시아 영화제라든지 레겐스부르크 국제 단편 영화제, 메르베야 국제 영화제, 로마 시네마 디오스 영화제 같은 굉장히 다양한 해외 국제 페스티벌 영화제에서 파이널리스트로 또 입상을 하셨어요. 그럼 단편 영화에 대한 얘기를 좀 해주실 수 있으실까요?
I actually got into advertising because I loved film, but I never knew how to get into film,
Right.
basically. So I kind of started with advertising. And in between shooting commercials, there's always kind of like a big break sometimes, where you're kind of not working.
Yeah.
And instead of kind of wasting that time away, I took the time to write some ideas and short scripts
Yeah.
and kind of develop them into short films. And fortunately, I was lucky enough to produce them in time for certain festivals, and it all kind of became like a quest to be more of a storyteller instead of just shooting commercials,
Right.
which is great and fun. But I think as a film director, it's also important to tell your own story as well.
Yeah.
So
And are the short movies 한잔 and Seoul Tour about your stories?
yes, I base all my short films on experiences that I've had.
Okay.
Of course, I kind of rewrite and in
Yeah.
fictional sense, rearrange some of the characters or the story sequences. But yes, those are kind of based on real life events that I've had in the past. So.
Very interesting. And for those of our listeners who'd like to go and check these short movies out, where can they do that or how?
I do have a Vimeo site where you can see all my work.
Okay.
Vimeo.com/Wookie for everyone. So you can go check it out there. Or I believe they are on some search engine sites. If you go into either of the search engines in Korea and type my name, you will be able to view it for free.
네. 백영욱 감독님의 이름을 검색창에 치시면은요, 그럼 이 단편 영화도 보실 수 있습니다. 근데 단편 영화를 제작하실 때와 또 광고를 제작할 때는 분명히 어떤 차이점이 있을 것 같아요. 어떤 좀 고민들이 있으셨는지, 어떤 좀 감정을 가지고 하셨는지도 궁금하거든요.
I think the most big difference is when you're directing a commercial,
Yeah.
the brief comes from the client.
Right.
And you need to be very loyal to the brand, the product you're shooting.
Yeah.
So you can be as creative as you want, and yet you should always abide by a certain line that identifies with the brand.
Right.
So the client makes the final call. I could shoot a scene that may look good, but if it doesn't abide by what the client seems fit for the brand, then we probably won't use it in the final edit.
Okay.
Whereas if it's a short film and I write it and I produce it, I'm the owner of my work.
Right.
So I can do whatever I want.
You have much more liberty.
Absolutely. No.
So do you have a preference?
Well, I don't have a certain preference because I think advertising, what it does is it really fine-tunes your directing ability.
Yeah.
So you're under really kind of tight pressure with the schedule, with the budget, with the time frame, and yet you kind of work with this certain level of discipline in really creating this beautiful, very short time frame visual. Short film, I'm really on my own. I could spend whatever time I want. But I think each has their own advantages.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that I prefer one or the other. The only thing I would say is directing a short film I have more control over.
보통 이제 단편 영화를 만들 때는 아무래도 이제 총 제작자의 그 역할이 있다 보니까 원하는 방향대로 갈 수 있는 그런 좀 자유가 있다면은 반면에 이제 광고를 찍을 때는 광고주의 입맛에 좀 더 맞게 해야 된다는 그런 차이가 있지만 또 광고는 광고만의 굉장히 짧은 시간 안에 압축해서 많은 얘기들을 해야 되기 때문에 또 그만의 또 재미, 흥이 있는 것 같습니다. Well, those two worlds came together, I understand, when you shot a Finnair short movie / commercial not too long ago. So we'll talk about that a bit after another song break. Here's Norah Jones, One Flight Down. You're listening to Morning Date, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with director Paik Young Wook, the mastermind of incredible short films and advertisement series. Now, we were talking about your work when it comes to ads and also shorts. Well, the two came together for what was known as a match made in hell. It was spelled H-E-L, short for Helsinki, right?
That's correct. So that project came about when an agency in Helsinki, actually there are two agencies for this project. One represents the airline, the other represents the Helsinki airport. So this whole campaign is basically about promoting Helsinki as the hub between the East and the West.
Right.
And they've done several campaigns, not as short films, but like fashion shows, or I believe they did like a skateboarding event several years ago. So this time around, they wanted to do a short film. So they were looking for one director from the West and one director from the East. The whole project was pitched out to lots of different production companies around the world. Luckily, I was part of a team that was from Sweden, where they were looking for an Asian director who had experience both commercially, but also had done short film. So I kind of fit the bill.
Bingo.
I think it also helped that I did speak a little bit of English. So once I was chosen for the project, the whole Eastern story became Korea. So I think I kind of felt more pride that doing a East and West kind of campaign for that project, the East became like Korea.
Right.
So Korean character.
This was not that long ago.
This was last year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
작년에요. 핀란드에서 핀란드 항공사와 공항이 이제 합작을 해서 그동안에 이 항공사가 동양과 서양을 이제 연결해주는 그런 역할을 했다. 항공사와 또 공항이 함께 그랬다라는 그런 캠페인을 만들어 달라고 해서요. 백 감독님께 이제 연락을 했다고 합니다. 그런데 이제 감독님이 두 분이셨어요. That was quite interesting to have two people at the helm of a project. Tell us about that, the dynamics of that.
It was very tough because each director has their own idea to kind of pursue things, how they direct their way of doing things. So I think the important thing was each director respectively were responsible for their characters. So the Western director, he was a Swedish director named Johan Storm. He kind of became responsible for the Western character. I was responsible for the Korean character.
Right.
the tough part was when the two characters meet in Helsinki. So we had like a shoot together where the characters meet. But
did you take turns directing? How did that work?
Exactly. So basically, you just can't have two directors on set.
Right.
You know, we're probably going to argue or whatever. So what we did was we kind of split up the sequences. So when the two characters kind of meet in a cabin in the woods for the first time, the Swedish director took over. I was there more of as an advisor.
Right.
Because he doesn't know Korean culture, so I would just tell them how the Korean actors should act in this situation. I was fortunately responsible for the ending scene where the two characters actually meet at the airport.
Okay.
So that was a very important scene, and I'm just lucky that I was able to direct that. But again, I was responsible for that scene, and the Swedish director kind of gave his kind of opinion. More of sat in the back as an advisor for that.
네. 이 전체 컨셉이 이제 동양과 서양의 만남이었기 때문에 동양 파트를 맡은 게 이제 백 감독님이 되고요. 그다음에 서양 파트를 만든 또 스톰 감독님이라고 계셨었는데 그 각자의 촬영부는 뭐 알아서 하셨지만 같이 만나는 그 장면에 있어서는 일단은 항상 같이 자리를 해주셨고 그다음에 씬을 나눠서 한 장면은 내가, 한 장면은 네가 이렇게 번갈아 가면서 하셨던 것 같아요. Is that how you maintain the consistency of the short?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, there's also an executive producer in charge.
Okay.
So the producer is the one kind of bringing it together. So make sure that each of us don't fall out of line.
Right, because otherwise you could have a very awkward linking, thing going on.
That also true, but also I think the client also wanted something different. So like each director had their different style. So they actually wanted that contrast.
Okay.
They like the fact that when the two characters are in different scenes, each director has their own style of shooting it. So they actually wanted that.
네, 여러분 한번 인터넷에 Match Made in Hell, HEL 하나입니다. 헬싱키의 약자인데 이걸 찾아보시면은 광고를 보실 수 있어요. 그래서 프레임이 이렇게 두 개로 나눠져 있어서 한쪽에는 동양이지만 사실 이제 서울의 모습이죠. 그 다음에는 반대쪽에는 서양의 모습이 같이 나오다가 그 다음에는 이제 합쳐지는 모습. 그래서 결국은 이제 핀란드에서는 공항과 항공사의 광고 역할을 하는 게 있었지만 또 개인적으로는 또 이런 작업을 참여하셔서 굉장히 의미가 있었을 것 같아요. What did this mean to you?
For me, it was just a great honor because I think it was the first time that both of my careers as a commercial director and a film director kind of converged.
Yeah.
And it was actually recognized by a big international client. And also at the same time, we did a big red carpet screening event in Helsinki last year. And it was funny because the host of the whole event was a director named Rennie Harlan. I don't know if...
Is he a movie director?
He's a movie director. He directed Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he was the host. And I was there.
Yeah.
And he was introducing me on stage. So it was very surreal. But it was a moment where I kind of thought, okay, well, I guess I did some things right, and I came, all
more
the
than
way
some
here.
things right.
And I was proud. Like I said, I was proud showing Korea to a really international press and an audience.
Yeah.
So that was great. It was really an honor. One of the best moments in my life.
Right. And reading how you actually got that part to begin with, I feel like the stars aligned really because they were looking for someone with exactly your experiences.
That's right. Yeah.
처음에 이제 어떤 감독님을 모실까라고 핀란드 측에서 고민을 하고 있었을 때 기왕이면 광고 쪽 일도 해보고 영화 쪽 일도 해보고 근데 동양 사람이고 영어도 하고 이런 사람이 없을까라고 했는데요. 그게 딱 백 감독님이었습니다. 그래가지고 이런 프로젝트를 작년에 이렇게 마치셨어요. Well, let's talk a bit about you. Some of our listeners might be curious to know where you grew up, because obviously you speak fluent English, but you are Korean ethnically. You actually travelled around the world quite a bit, didn't you?
I lived in lots of different countries when I was abroad. I was born in France, and
Do you
I
speak
lived
French?
a little, but I try not to say anything. I was born in France. I lived in Cameroon, which is in Africa.
Yeah.
I lived in Canada, where I learned my English. And then I lived in India, Malaysia, and the United States.
Wow.
And I came back, well actually I was in elementary school in Korea 3rd, 4th, 5th grade.
Okay.
And then I went abroad again, and then I came back permanently when I was, I would say, junior high, freshman in high school.
Okay, so you spent your teen years onwards here in Korea.
Yes, I graduated high school here, graduated university here.
Right, right. And what was it that do you think propelled you to work in this industry in the first place?
Well, my love for films,
Yeah.
my love for the visual media. You know, since I was young, I just loved watching movies. I collected, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the listeners right now would, I used to collect VHS movie tapes.
Oh yeah, the videotapes.
The videotapes,
Yes.
if you know what that is. So I would just watch movies over and over all the time, memorize dialogue,
Yeah.
memorize scenes,
Wow.
kind of draw out the scene in my head. So I think from a younger age, I really wanted to do something that would kind of like put me in a spot where I would create something visually.
So you were very, very creative as a child.
Well, I don't know if I was creative as a child, but I think I tried to pursue it as a career, and I was just successful, luckily, along the
Right.
way. So.
Well, where do you think you're at in terms of your whole career? Do you think you've reached your peak? You're getting there?
I think I barely scratched the surface.
Oh wow, I love that.
For me, you know, especially as a director, there's no such thing as reaching a peak, I think. You got to keep creating something new every time. Once you've accomplished something, you can't just be satisfied at that
Right.
moment. You need to keep challenging yourself and kind of do something, you know, create something new, create like a challenge, like another feat that you can kind of go over.
Right.
So I still think I have a long way to go.
아, 네. 이렇게 영화계, 광고계의 거장이시고 대한민국 방송광고 대상을 수상하셨고 국제 영화제에서 파이널리스트로 입상하는 영광을 얻고서도 이제 시작이다 라고 말씀하셨습니다. 이제 겨우 scratch the surface. 이제 조금 뭔가 시작하려고 한다. 앞으로 굉장히 많은 계획이 있으실 것 같아요. Where do you see yourself maybe in the next 10, 20 years?
Well,
That's a difficult question to ask. You never know. but
hopefully
then-
I'll still be directing.
Oh, I'm sure you will be.
Hopefully, I would kind of establish myself as a feature film director. I'm actually currently working with a writer on my first feature.
Wow.
But I mean, you know, directing a feature film, preparing for it is a very daunting task. So it takes time. But
Sure.
hopefully, in the next 10 years, I would have at least done 1 or 2, even 3, you know, feature films, and you know,
Sure.
and I can still be doing commercials at the same time.
Do you think Daniel Henney will be in your feature films?
Oh, Daniel actually mentioned that. He actually said, you know, if you're going to do a feature and you know you're going to do something creative, you know who to call.
Right.
So we're in constant communication even to this day. So.
네, 앞으로는 이제 브라운관에서도 감독님의 영화 앞으로 기대도 해보도록 하겠습니다. And every time, of course, we would very much like for you to come back and sit down with us to talk about your films.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd be more than thankful if you invited me anytime.
Well, today that was delightful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so
Very
much.
insightful. I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
And see you again soon, I hope.
Thank you so much. I had a great time. Thank you.
네, 오늘은요 모닝데이트의 초대 손님으로 백영욱 감독님, 영어 이름은 이제 우키라는 이제 귀여운 별명을 가지고 계신데요. 백 감독님과 함께했습니다. 감독님 보내드리면서요 또 노래 한 곡 들려드리도록 할게요. This is Craig David for Once in My Life.